Bartlett Lake today. It's April, late April, and we're in the post-spawn. Fishing conditions get tough. It's later on in the morning, 9:30, 10 o'clock. But let me show you guys a new rig that a lot of people don't know about. The pros do, but the everyday average fisherman just doesn't know about. It's called the Ned Rig. Pretty neat. These fish, when the fish are inactive, they bite on this thing. So we have a little mushroom head, all right? And it's just a little round head like this, real light, and an open hook. Now this worm is elastic, so it's gonna stretch a lot. You could probably catch a good 20, 25 fish on this worm. It's that easy, and it lasts that long. I like to use 2 rods. What I'm doing is I'm using a medium with a fast tip. It's a brand new Johnny Morris braid on there with fluorocarbon. 7 foot with a light reel. Okay, that's 6 to 5. All right, so that's one of my rods I'm going to be trying. Here's one that I'm testing out, a new rod for a company. I put a little bit heavier Ned Rig on this one, a little heavier, just to throw it on a bait caster. This rod is a performance rod, and it's actually made by Spiral Light. It's a new rod. If you notice, the guides spiral around the rod. Gives you more sensitivity, better casting, and longer casting. So I've tried this out a few times. I really like this. I teamed this rod up with, this is a 6'9" medium with a fast tip. I teamed this up with a carbon light reel, real light. This reel is only 5.8 ounces. So we're going to be using this. Let's go fishing, and we'll try this Ned Rig out and give you some tips about fishing. This bait is real easy to use. Basically, you just throw it out, let it sit for a few minutes, and I'll teach you how to do this as I go down the bank, so to make it a little bit easier on you. All right, so we're over here on this side, up the lake, and I got to tell you something, folks. When you use the Ned Rig, you catch a lot of fish, but you never know if you're going to catch a big one or a little one. So I'm just dragging this. Oh, there's one right there. You got one too. Hang on. There's 2 of them. You're getting bit too.
Really?
Yeah. You get, okay. Hold on, folks. David, the cameraman's fishing with the white reel. Let me reel mine in. Okay. I'm using the bait caster. Now let me see if David still got his on. Oh, you lost yours, David. So David's fishing with was fishing with this. These are just real simple. Just a TRD and the spinning reel. All right, David's gonna have to fish with his own stuff now. I gotta use mine.
2 fish on the same time. A double hookup with only 1 guy fishing.
Yeah, yeah.
I just threw my rod down so I could film.
I know. Well, your rod was going boink, boink, boink. So let's go back.
You're not kidding about it being a fish vacuum.
It is. So what we're doing is we're just going down the yellow cliffs here. We're just pitching up to these rocks. Good place to catch these fish. You could do this 2 ways. You can just throw it out, you know, and stay off the rocks, or you can just kind of drag it, you know, throw it out, let it swing around the back. I'm letting it swing around, and it seems like as you go around, it just kind of bumps out, and then all of a sudden you'll either feel that light little tap, or you won't feel nothing. It just gets heavy. So either I'm on a rock right now, but it's coming. Here we go. Now I was dragging that one, and it just got heavy, but I felt just something abnormal about it. Oh, there he is, way back there. Way back there, Dave. That's a nice sized fish. Usually you catch small fish on this, but this is pretty nice. This one's not bad. Look at that. Even next, holy mackerel. Get him coming. That's a nice fish, guys. That's a real nice fish. Right in the top of the lip. Oh, that one's still got a big gut. You catch too many like this with the big gut on her. Probably 95% of the fish we catch are spawned out already. This one probably has eggs. She's about 2 pounds, 2 1/4. All right, let's let her go so she can go right back down and get back to her nest if that's what she's doing. So I'm just pitching along the bank here, and you can see all the big rocks here. So what I'm doing is if I'm wearing Polaroid, so if I can see the rock underneath, I'll pitch to it and let it fall right next to it or right on top of it. Other than that, I'm just gonna throw it out, let it hit the bottom. And the trick is not to move it too much. Just throw it out and let it sit there. Every once in a while, I like to lift up and then drop it just to see if anything's on it. Half of your bites are just that. They grab it and just sit there with it. They don't even do nothing with it. They're not like a drop shot where they tick the bait. So if you're not gonna drag it behind the boat and take the chance of getting stuck. Now, see that rock right over there? You can see that there's a rock right there underneath, in front of the other one that's out of the water. So I just cast right up there, hold my rod up high, and just see if there's anything there. I don't leave it there too long. You know, I'm just gonna try it again. Let that thing just ferment and go down there and just rest down in there. Guess there wasn't they're not at all the rocks, guys. You know, some of them they are, but not all. But different angles of that rock might get you a fish, you know, so I'll just throw it right on the very, very end and see if there's something out there on this end. Oh, there's one. Oh, missed him. Let's go back again. So when you come out here and you do this, well, we got a nice breeze coming up, but when you come out and you start doing this, you know, you're trying to find a pattern that these fish are relating to. Are they gonna be off the big rocks? Are they gonna be off the sunken rocks? Are you gonna drag it 10 feet, 12 feet? Keep remembering where you catch that fish. Is it 15 feet from the bank? Look at your depth finder. Is it halfway back to the boat? You know, so I'm dragging it off that big rock right there. And I'm just dragging it on the bottom. Okay, it's getting heavy. So I either got a rock or a fish. I got a fish. Sometimes you guys, you'll catch rocks too. Now this fish came in 20 feet of water, so I'm just gonna reel him up nice and slow. Oh gosh. Another big one. Nice. These are nice Bartlett Lake bass. Normally guys, I catch a lot smaller fish. Trust me. But you'll catch a lot of little ones, and then once in a while you'll find an area where there's nicer fish. So go back down. There he goes. Wow. 2 in a row that size. You know, usually I have to catch 5 or 10. Now there's a rock that just under the water there. So I'm giving it plenty of slack. I follow my line down, hold my rod up like this, just enough to keep the tension off. 90% of the time when you first throw it in there, a lot of times you're gonna get bit. That's because the bass can see 5 times greater than we can see. So if I'm looking at a foot under the water, they're looking at 5 feet at that bait. So just to give you a general rule about that. So I'm just gonna throw up towards the rocks that I can visually see. Take up my slack, hold my rod up around 11, 12 o'clock, and just let that go down. And like I said, a lot of times you might get that little bitty tick there, and then most of the time you don't. The bigger the fish seems like they don't even just get it and swim with it. They just start swimming out with it. So we're just gonna keep running and doing this. Most of the fish are gonna be 4 or 5 feet off the bank, because we're targeting the bank here's 90 degrees, so we're targeting fish that are gonna be down 8 to 15 feet. That one came at about 19, 20 feet, that last one. Just kind of working it out, just kind of real slow, just kind of dragging it out. So when I get out to the boat, I don't usually drag it too close to the boat. You know, this is some nice shoreline right here. These represent crawdads, so you can see the riprap, the small riprap too, which is good. This bait, you just move it real slow. Some people move it way too fast. You just throw it in, and then you just lift up and move it a little bit. Lift up, move it a little bit. Let it just sit there. A lot of times when it's sitting there is when they grab it. Just keep on going down, see what happens. Yeah, I gotta say one thing, guy, you know, throwing a bait like this on a bait caster rod, a lot of people won't do it. But this new rod called Spiral Light, you can go on and www.spirallight.com and look at them. You know, they got, ooh, oh, I was gonna set the hook on that. It probably wasn't a bite. But, you know, these rods are just so sensitive. I mean, they are real sensitive. So the guide's here, the next guide's over here, the next guide's over here, the next guy's up here. You can see how these guides are just wrapping around this rod. The guides are just going around and they're using really good parts. As these eyes go around the blank, that line is just following all the way around the blank, and that's how you're getting your sensitivity. You don't just have one eye after another, and it's not just pulling line on each one, you know, all the way down. It's wrapping around, and you actually can cast further with this too. Not only does it have a sensitivity, but it's light. I'm telling you, this thing just hardly weighs nothing. Another thing about this I like, and a lot of the new rods are getting this, they have those wind grips for like the golf clubs. They are so soft, they're spongy, but it is nice. They have two grades of rods. They got a real sensitive one. The highest grade they make is a $200 rod, $199.99. And then they make a $99 rod. I really like this one. This is the $199 rod. So I'm gonna test their $99 rod out just to see how sensitive it is. But they make crankbait rods and, you know, all kind of rods. Make them up to 7.5, 8 foot. So they make a lot of different rods. But man, I could just feel so much with this rod. It's unbelievable for a bait caster, you know. But it is nice, I'll tell you, it's a nice rod to have, something that's real sensitive. You want something that'll feel a little tiny weight like that, that's for sure. I almost gotta tell you, it almost feels like cheating in fishing because you're using something so sensitive with these guides going around and the line going around the rod. It just makes it so sensitive. And that's what you need if you're gonna use something like this, you know. I don't have a spinning rod like this yet. I'm gonna try one out. I wanted a bait caster first just to see how sensitive it was. So I can imagine if this bait caster is this sensitive, what is a spinning rod gonna be like, you know? But just testing this out, I've been using it now for, oh my gosh, probably a month. And I've caught some 4s and 5s pounders up at Roosevelt on this rod. You've seen my post and some of my stuff up there lately. But just kind of keep throwing this out. You know, eventually you just, I like to just keep throwing it in the target area. I like to keep it in 8, 10, 12 feet, right where the fish are. You know, I don't want to go out and fish on the other side of the boat. You know, I have customers that'll do that, throw out there in 36, 40 feet of water. That's not where the fish are. They're just right off the bank. So as we go down the bank, guys, there's some riprap, kind of crushed rock here, and good crawdad area right here. I'm telling you, this is really a good crawdad area. And whoops, there's a bite right there. Son of a gun. Talking and messing around, you know. So I had just flicked that up there and I was just doing nothing. I was talking. I wasn't even moving my bait. Oh coming. Yeah. Feels like another good fish. Boy, further up, all I caught was little ones, and now, oh yeah, look at this one, guys. This is a nice one. Oh yeah. Dave's got his eye on him. That's a nice fish. Look at that. Boy, I tell you this. There've been some nice ones here. Come on, little gal. Oh man. Whew. See that, guys? Hooks right in the very top. Look at that worm, just stretches out. You see the hook I'm using is a little bit bigger, but right there. Boy, nice fish, man. Where are those babies in the tournament, huh? 2 pound plusers. Pretty. Let's let this guy or girl go. Woo. So the hook, you know, remember I told you you can keep reusing these baits? Now you see why. You might pay $1 a piece for the head, and you might pay $1 for this, but I'll bet you can catch 20 fish on one bait, at least 20. And if it does get wore out, all you got to do is just cut a little piece off the end with the scissors, and then if you want to, you can put a little glue on there. You know, I don't have glue on there, but there's a little keeper on that on the head there that keeps the bait on. But still sharp. Now I'm using a little bit bigger head. You know, I have a smaller head on the spinning rod, but because I'm using the bait caster, I wanted to use a heavier one. All right, let's go down a little bit further. Boy, I tell you, about 8-10 feet off the bottom of this, there's fish down there. I'm just kind of bouncing this on the rocks right down here. There's some nice fish down here. Oh, there's a bump. Yep, it's not a rock this time. Woohoo! That's a nice one. Holy mackerel. God. Boy, we caught some nice fish along here. Look at this one, guys. That's a nice fish. Skinny, but big. Wow. Oh man, can't get it out of his lip. 1 minute, you're catching small ones. The next minute, you're catching big ones. You never can tell with this Ned Rig. It is so simple. They carry these at the Bass Pro Shop too, Sportsman and Bass Pro Shop. You know what, with this, we're just gonna close out right now. And Dave and I just want to thank you a lot for watching our videos and shows and stuff. So, happy fishing to you. Pick some of these Ned Rigs up and these elastic baits made by Z-Man, and have a good time.